beautiful friends. It's Amanda here, and today we're talking about the newest release from my beloved ColourPop Cosmetics. We have some of these Instant Crush lip and cheek balms. Now, this isn't a completely brand new product. We have seen a couple of these before in those heart-shaped compacts, but we're getting new packaging, more shades, and I do think these are slightly more dewy, but I'm gonna do a comparison. It could just be that my older ones are just older, but let me not get too far ahead of myself. Let's just start with the basic info first. These are currently available on the ColourPop site. I'm not sure if or when they'll be available at Ulta or Target, other places where you might buy your ColourPop, but these are available in 8 different shades and they are $12 a piece. But if you buy them from the ColourPop site, you can use my affiliate code. It's just my first name, Amanda, and that will save you 10% on any of these little individual blushes. These come in a little outer carton that has the heart-shaped cutout that mimics the heart-shaped pan on the inside. And these are labeled with the shade names with a sticker on the top of the box, as you can see here. And then when you get the actual compact out, there is a color matched sticker also with the shade name on the back. But because these are in completely clear packaging, it's very easy to quickly identify which shade you're grabbing. So I like that. I also want to point out that these are very easy to open and close because they don't have a clasp closure, it just snaps shut. So we'll see how that packaging holds up over time. But for now, I actually really like this packaging. It's giving me serious K-beauty inspo vibes. I like that there's still the cutesy element with the heart-shaped pan, but it still feels very pared down, very crisp and clean as far as just this super simple, clear packaging. Overall, I like the packaging. It fits the ColourPop vibes. It fits the product really well. So I'm a big fan of that. I love cute stuff too. I like things that look cute in Instagram photos. So obviously, I like this. In this video, I'm going to show you close-ups of every single shade. I'm going to show you live swatches. I'm going to show you blended out swatches. And I'm also going to do comparisons with few other blushes that are available on the ColourPop site so that I can tell you what are the similarities and the differences. So I don't have an application demo in this video to my actual cheeks, although you'll see all 8 shades actively applied and blended out on my arm during the arm swatch, but I do have another video coming soon where you'll get to see these in action. And I'll also try to post a YouTube short or maybe something over on TikTok soon so that you can see this actually being applied to my cheeks. But technically, you have already seen this applied because this is not a brand new formula. This was previously released, like I mentioned, in the heart shape compacts with their Valentine's Day collection last year. And even one of these exact same shades was available during that release. So I've definitely already demonstrated this formula previously on the channel. I'll link that down in the description box if you want to see these in action on the cheeks ASAP. That was the Lost in Love collection, last year's Valentine's Day release. So you may very well have already seen that, or you might actually already have one of these. These have a dewy finish. I would describe them as buildable. So you can wear these quite sheared out, and then you can also layer them up. Like you see here, I showed you one swipe and then blended out, and now I'm doing another coat, another layer of the same blush shade on top. So you can see you can build these up and go for a much more dramatic blush look if that's what you're interested in. I'm somebody that likes a nice buildable blush because I do like a really flushed look. And I think these are quite beautiful. I think they're going to work for a lot of different people. The only thing I will say is these stay decently dewy on the cheeks. If you're looking for something that dries down more, then stay tuned because you'll see the comparison blushes may work better for you if you don't like a glowy, dewy type of cheek. Personally, I like a blush like this especially for the winter time. I have very dry skin. But if I'm gonna wear this in the summer, then I can easily just do a little swipe of a nice glowy, like maybe a baked blush on top to set that with a little bit of powder. And I find that works really well for me, but I know that that's not everybody's jam. I do find myself wishing for a purple in this collection. I just think it would have been such a good idea to do a nice mid-toned lavender. I think that would really draw a lot of eyes to this particular blush release. They've done a lot of blushes lately, and hey, like I said, I love a really blushy look, so I'm not mad at it, and I actually really quite enjoy all of their recent blush releases. But I do think that this one really could have been a standout had they done a purple blush. I always hear people asking for purple, a really beautiful mid-toned lavender and like a true red. I think those would have been amazingly good color options, and perhaps we'll see this line extended into some more shades. Maybe if this is a well-received formula, then we could see more of these pop up in future collections, perhaps, the Valentine's Day collection, or who knows? I am always open to seeing new shades pop up later. So fingers crossed that we'll get a purple shade. I quite like all the colors they did release. I love a very terracotta nude type of color. So Second Date and Larchmont Village really grabbed my attention. I think their swatch of Larchmont Village on the ColourPop site is really misleading. It makes it look like it's this darker, deeper brown shade, and that is not my experience at all. Maybe it's just me, but this is definitely a softer nudie brown shade. Let's move on to some comparisons now. I actually have Adore You new versus Adore You old version. These older heart-shaped lip and cheek balm compacts are still on the site. One of the three is sold out, but they're marked down, so certainly this new release is going to replace the heart-shaped compact version. As I alluded to earlier, I do think that the new ones feel quite a bit dewier. It may just be that my old version is, in fact, older, of course, but I didn't have any problems picking up or applying or blending out the old version at all. And I do remember those being a little bit more waxy to the touch, even when I first received them compared to this new formula, which does feel just slightly dewier. But in general, it's the same color. So make sure you double check. Don't rebuy Adore You if you don't have to. But the other two colors are not repeated. So I'm going to show you the closest comparisons. Heart's Content, the first Adore You swatch, and Cutesy Wootsy are all the older, the heart-shaped compacts that came out with last year's Valentine's Day release. And then Lucky You, the second Adore You, and Girls Night are the closest comparison shades from this new release. So hopefully this is helpful. Is it just me, or are all these starting to look the same? I think it's time to move on to the other Instant Crush cream blush in the family. This one comes in the square pink compact, it has a circular pan inside, and this one has a natural matte finish. I'm not the biggest matte blush girly, but the cream to matte really worked well for me, especially in the summertime. I've continued to enjoy this original Instant Crush cream blush formula, and you'll be able to tell the huge difference, not just here in the pan, but once these are applied to my arm, they instantly look incredibly different. I do think that the Instant Crush cream blush, the matte ones, this is just a cream blush, it's not a lip and cheek balm like the heart-shaped version. You can tell instantly there's not that shine. Even blended out, the new blushes here retain some of that glowy look. And I do think that the natural matte finish Instant Crush is a bit more sheer, not quite as intensely pigmented. And I think that is pretty apparent here when you see the entire line from each one of these formulas swatched side by side. Some pretty similar shades, definitely a few variations. In general, even though I have dry skin, I still really like the Instant Crush cream blushes. I think that if you have combo or oily skin, you're probably going to prefer the cream blush versus the lip and cheek balm, particularly if you are somebody who feels like your blush wears off, sweats off, disappears really quickly, or if you just don't really love that dewy finish. Now, the blended out dewy finish doesn't feel sticky. I don't feel like my hair is sticking to my cheeks, but it definitely retains some of that glow. So if that's not what you're looking for, maybe you want to check out one of these other formulas. Their other new recent release is the liquid blush. The liquid blush comes in a tube and has a doe foot applicator. I did do a whole video on that, so I'm going to link any relevant videos down in the description box. If any of these other blushes catch your attention, make sure you check down there so that you can see some more info, demos, all of that good stuff. But these are obviously very different packaging, very different application methods, and the liquid blush has a natural satin finish, not as matte as the Instant Crush cream blushes, but definitely not as glowy as these new lip and cheek balms. This one's kind of in the middle. I also really, really enjoy this one. I think that right now the ColourPop liquid blush has been my personal most worn blush since it released back at the end of June. I feel like this is a pretty close timeline as far as releasing new blush formulas, but I'm not mad at it. The liquid blush blends out to be quite a bit more sheer than the majority of the shades in the lip and cheek balm. And these also layer really, really nicely. So if you're looking for something that is in general more subtle, then I think the liquid blush might be a good option. Liquid blush is just right in between for everything that we're comparing today. So I feel like it's a good option for just about everyone. I think these are the most similar shade-wise, and they're also the two most recent releases. So again, I do wish there was just a little bit of a switch up. I do wish that we had a true deep red, maybe a really toasty burgundy. Do you remember their Super Shock blush in the shade Bordeaux? Something like that. Maybe a purple. Again, I know I keep suggesting that, but I think that's what people want. So hopefully we will continue to see the shade range expand. Personally, I like all of these different blush formulas, but I do think that depending on your skin type and your style, there really is something here for everyone. I want to show you a quick rundown from the actual ColourPop site to give you an idea of how they say these things differ. In my opinion, the big standouts here are the first one we're looking at, the lip and cheek balm. It's a multi-use product and it has a dewy, glowy finish. In the center is the Instant Crush cream blush. The big differentiator here is that it has a matte finish. And then the liquid blush, the main thing, in my opinion, is the actual application method. That's what really makes this one stand out. And it doesn't give a very specific note on what the finish is, but they do use the term natural a lot. And so, in my opinion, this is more of a natural satin type of finish. I think that they are phasing out the Cheek Dew serum blushes. Those were really a love it or hate it type of product. No surprise, I was in the love it camp. I think I'll like almost any blush that you put in front of me. And that is just me admitting to my faults, okay? We all have them. But there's only a couple of shades left on the site, and it looks like they're going to discontinue those. So if you're looking for a dewy blush, it seems like the Instant Crush lip and cheek balm is going to be the main option. And honestly, I do like those more than the cheek dews, so not a bad option to have. Now's the time when I want to hear what you think about these new blushes. Have you tried any of them? Have you tried any of the comparison formulas? I always love to hear what you think about things too. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video real soon. And I love your face so much. Okay, bye.